Ben McKee and West Rucker Go Vols 24/7 here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium on Easter Sunday, where Tennessee has lost a series to Kentucky. Tennessee wins on Friday night behind a strong performance from Liam Doyle on the mound. The offense was able to get going, such is not the case on Saturday and Sunday. Tennessee dropping Game 2 and Game 3 to lose this weekend's series. I think first you have to start by giving Kentucky credit. Yeah. They pitched the baseball well, they fielded it cleanly, and they had competitive at-bats, but Tennessee baseball did not quite look like Tennessee baseball this weekend. Very much a consistent theme these last 3 weeks, and for the second time in 3 weekends, the theme of sloppy baseball bit them in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different ways to kind of lose games and series, and I think A&M, not that Tennessee was perfect that weekend, but A&M just sort of fairly and squarely beat Tennessee, right? You know, hit the ball over the yard, did what it needed to do. Tennessee beat itself against Kentucky, and I take nothing away from Kentucky. They are what they are, which is a solid baseball team that will not beat itself, but you should beat if you throw strikes, if you field the ball cleanly, have pretty good at bats. Like the talent discrepancy there, you know, Kentucky winning one game wouldn't be the worst, but Tennessee had no business losing that series. And it did because of itself. And I think it's, I mean, I guess I'll have a column on this, Ben, but there's like a difference between, you know, like annoying and like a huge concern. It's somewhere in the middle there, I think, because it's no reason to panic, but there should be some concern.
Yeah, and you know, Kentucky is very theatric in the dugout. They come off as annoying. The antics are kind of what they are. Everybody in the league feels that way about them, but watching them this weekend, I do think that they're a good baseball team, and I wonder if Tennessee almost went in to the weekend having that mindset, and Tony Vitello just got done talking about how he didn't think his team had the right mindset throughout the weekend, especially on Saturday and Sunday, and I think having that approach of, it's just Kentucky, I think that played a part in them playing poor baseball, because Kentucky played good baseball this weekend.
Oh, there's no question. Like I'm not, and take nothing away from them. I think, like if you're talking about like, you know, draft picks and power and physical prowess, like there's stuff on the mound, there's a huge discrepancy there. A pretty good one anyways. I mean, Kentucky's not a mid-major team. It's a good, solid SEC baseball team that will be in the tournament. But Tennessee is a more talented team and should be winning, especially at home. And I think, for me anyways, I usually let things slide for a series, one series, and maybe one game here or there. So the A&M series, okay, that's a talented team. We've seen what they've done the past few weeks. That it's baseball. Last night, pitcher kind of shoves it against you. You take that L, you move on. You come back the next day, and you take care of business. This was the first day where I really took a step back and went, there is absolutely no reason for this to be happening. Like those guys stood right behind where we are last night and watched Kentucky take a regular season win and act like it was like a regional win. And Tennessee sat there looking at it like a team that was going to come out the next day and handle business. But it didn't do it. It just didn't do it. Kentucky, you know, drew a couple walks early. Tennessee made a couple mistakes. Tennessee gets frustrated. It just gets worse and worse. And it's just, this is the first day where I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah, and you asked that question with what they were doing offensively at the plate. Again, tip of the hat to Kentucky's Game 2 starter, Game 3 starter. They were really, really good the last 2 days. Tony Vitello just said they're two of the best starters in the conference, and I agree with that statement, but it's still shocking to see Tennessee combine to score 3 games in 2 days in its own ballpark. The last time it happened was, I think, 2019, very early in the Tony Vitello tenure. So, like the sloppiness, we've seen that a little bit of late. The offense was what was new this weekend, and part of that was the Kentucky starters. They were really, really good. They have been all season long, but just not the same, at least from my viewpoint, just didn't seem like they had this. Tennessee did not have the same grit and determination that we're kind of used to seeing from that offense.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, to me, like there are days where you hit the ball hard and it's right at people, you get some bad luck, the wind's blowing in. Like anyone who knows baseball knows that. This was not one of those. They were not great at bats. And sometimes from veteran players too. Like, you know, you're down by a run or two, there's a runner on base, like you got to be smart in those. Like, you got to be more competitive. You can't have a can of corn, you know, to shallow right field in a moment like that. You just can't do stuff like that. There's times where they just weren't as competitive and dialed in as they need to be. And I can't help but wonder if they expected that, like, they would just kind of run a ball or two out of the yard, and then an opponent will do what an opponent almost always does in this park, which is lie down and take it. And Kentucky just never did that. It did not allow that to happen. It kept making plays. It didn't let things spiral. When the occasional little mishap happened, it was corrected immediately, and they just handled their business. I mean, one team was doing little league stuff in the dugout, the other was doing little league stuff on the field. And both can be annoying, but the one that'll lose you games is the one in the field.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And sloppiness, again, as we've mentioned, continues to be a theme for the team over the last month or so. And the offense, kind of an odd weekend for them in terms of struggling, but it's very clear that there's some things on the mound in terms of command, and then also cleaning up things defensively that they need to figure out quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, I trust the long line of stuff they've done on the mound over time that I think, for the most part, I mean, yesterday they pitched mostly well enough, well enough to win a game anyways. Yeah. Today, until maybe the ninth inning, they were still pitching well enough to kind of keep you in the game. The frustrating thing is Kentucky's not going to go get anything unless you give it to them, and they were giving it to them, and that's the concern there. But for me, I wonder if it's something like maybe when Keelan left the field, that was a steadying presence that's just not been out there. There's just been something, because when you can make the spectacular plays, even this weekend, as bad as Tennessee was defensively, made 3 or 4 of the best plays that you'll see all season from any team in college baseball. But then other plays where you're just not pitching and catching. And that's where it's like, are guys moving around too much? Are they not dialed in? Like what's going on there? It's something. And credit Vitella for this. I think Benny, for years, he has almost always pushed the right buttons at the right time to tweak the dials to get things where they need to be when they need to get there. So there's a lot of reason to think that will get fixed, but like it absolutely needs to get fixed.
Yeah, and better in a hurry, because next weekend doesn't get any easier. You go down to the box and play in the best atmosphere in college baseball against a fan base that does not like you, a team that does not like you, and it can torpedo on you rather quickly if you're not playing clean baseball. So they'll look to get things corrected this week. They play Lipscomb on Tuesday night, and then they'll be in Baton Rouge Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as the second half of SEC play continues to begin. We've got all the Tennessee baseball coverage you need at GoVols247.com. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.